It's on. It's
All
on
right.
right now, Kasha.
It's on.
Hey, hey, thank you so much. For partnering up with this podcast with me. I always thought we had really
Mhm.
great synergy,
Yes.
and for all of our people that's out there, all our friends, all our family. Hey,
Mhm.
we Kasha, this my home girl, Kasha B.
What's up?
And I'm Kevin C. Bozeman in the house. And we've partnered up to do a couple of different podcasts together.
Mhm.
We just had really great synergy together. So the first one that we're going to be rocking on together is the relationship codes.
Yep.
And we're going to break down some major relationship dynamics from what business,
Mhm.
personal, dealing with your clients, taking your side hustle up to a next level, the type of relationships you need at that,
Yes.
your intimate relationships, your dating relationships. Nakasha, you married and I'm married too.
Yep.
So we're going to be able to give some successful dynamics and tools to work with that. How long you
Exactly.
been married?
23 years as of April.
Ooh,
Yes. Yeah,
ooh, you've been in the
23.
game a
A
long time.
long time.
Right. So we're gonna be putting out those relationship codes, and it's really to help people be more successful. A lot of our information that we've done and researched and tested and
Mhm.
researched and tested and say, okay, we're gonna keep these tools. We're gonna put beware on these tools, and
Right.
so we're gonna be able to talk
Yes.
about those type of dynamics as well.
Absolutely.
And then the other podcast is Unbreakable.
Mhm.
Now, that one's really designed for athletes of any sport, whether your kids are playing it, whether you've played it. It's really designed towards professionals and their families,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of things that happen out of that in that particular round.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah. So, Kasha, did you have any friends? That you
Mhm.
grew up with that were athletes that had some different type of
Oh,
challenges.
absolutely. I played sports since I was in 6th grade.
Oh,
So, yes, yeah, you wouldn't
okay.
know it. I had a friend in college when I played intramural with them. He kept calling me Scrappy Doo. I was so short handling the ball.
Well,
But yeah, I knew different
okay.
people that played sports, and it's always a challenge of balance. It can be balancing, at the time, school and balancing relationships, but then also balancing, just that discipline of
Right.
practice and practice, just to make sure that the game was right.
Right. And I know that's really super important, to be able to balance all of
Hmm.
that and really being able to go in with a plan. And so what we are going to be my area of expertise is I'm a personality temperament expert, guru. I've been studying marketing, working with, training on, using it for myself. So I'm my number one client when it comes down to self-regulating,
Hmm.
setting myself up for success, learning how
Right.
to manage my own emotions, even learning how to partner with people. So look, I partner with Kasha B. And we were in a business group together,
Hmm.
one of the largest networking groups in the world,
Yes.
and we were on the same team. And we had really good synergy in passing business back and forth together.
Hmm.
But when they asked me to become the chapter's president, the only way I would be the president is if Kasha was the secretary treasurer running the
Right.
finances, because Kasha had a special gift. She's a virtual assistant management, but it's
Hmm.
not just a virtual
Hmm.
assistant. Kasha got skills, y'all. She got mad skills, and so I wanted to partner with her. But as at the time, we took over this chapter, and when we took over the chapter, it was last in the state.
Hmm.
Within just over a year, we became chapter of the
Yep.
year, growth. All the members made more
Hmm.
money. The chapter doubled
Yeah.
in size, and people was wondering what we were doing, and it was all based off of knowing how to put people in their right strengths for right
Hmm.
partnerships. And a lot of times we don't even do that. We don't even talk about
We
that. We
don't
don't even
know
know
what
what
it
that
looks
looks
like. We
like.
don't even know what it means.
Exactly. And so you know, that's how I knew I wanted to continue to do business with Kasha, regardless of whether we was in the same
Hmm.
chapter or had moved on. I was like, she got
Thank
skills, and,
you.
and she did an amazing job. And so we've partnered together. We've always worked on projects together because that's a great partnership. She has her areas
Hmm.
of strengths that I just don't have,
Hmm.
and I think I could bring some things to the table, to
Absolutely.
help her out as well. But
Yes.
she well rounded. She's got skills all over. So, but
Yes.
we wanted to introduce this to you.
Hmm.
The podcast, that was relationship codes, but we also gonna do another one called Unbreakable. And because what I'm seeing is a lot of people go into depression,
Hmm.
they don't know how to pivot with the climate and a lot of things that's going on politically, even though we're not talking about that, but we talking about how to recover, how to position yourself. So
Hmm.
Kasha, I came up with some
Okay. Let's
acronyms
hear it.
uh for Unbreakable. So if you take the U really stands for unshakable
Mm.
mindset. Look, that just doesn't come by reading one book
Mm-mm.
or reading one motivational quote or saying one
Right.
affirmation. Look,
That's every day.
that's a whole that's a whole
It
regimen
is.
on a
Yes. You're talking
daily.
about discipline.
Yeah, yeah. And if you just do a little bit at a time, if you make 1% improvement a day, in 100 days, you'll be
Hmm.
100% better.
Absolutely.
And so that's something you got to focus on. Yep. And then it's the end. It says, never give up. Okay, sometimes we don't give up in the right areas. We don't know when to fold them. And so a lot of times there's
Hmm.
red flags that's at the very beginning and we don't really know how to recognize red flags, but you never quit growing. You never quit trying to observe. You never quit trying to get better. You always work on
Hmm.
getting better. Some people would just tap out and say, nah, but I ain't gonna try to get in no relationship. I'm just
Right.
gonna
I'm
do the
done.
thing on the side and then I'm gonna keep
Yeah.
moving when in actuality, if they actually put that energy into their own self development,
Hmm.
they could actually get into a real healthy, positive relationship, whether they've been hurt or not. But that's where the unbreakable part comes in. Because sometimes
Absolutely.
situations they done broke us.
Yep. That's true.
And then yeah, yeah, girl, I got glasses on. I gotta take them off in order to see my phone.
You may have to get that taken care
And then the B
of.
stands for behave. Yeah, I know, right? The B stands for behavioral
Mm.
mastery. Look, if you can't master behavior, knowing when again and when not to, when to bring it up, when to bring it down, how to move it to the left, when to move it to the left, how to move it to the right, when to move it to the right, you're not as successful as you could be. And different people, what works for you don't necessarily work for me. Like
Mhm.
you can do those details and work that thing real
Mhm.
good. I need help sometimes with focusing on the details. I'm a big vision
Yeah.
thinker, so I can see where this one move will be
10 steps from now.
20 miles down the
Yeah.
road.
Yes.
Yeah, but if you ask me my first 3 steps, I'm gonna be like, "I don't know, just go this way, and look, we're gonna end up right there." So, but and that's where the partnership really comes in,
Mhm.
and that comes down to mastering your
Yep.
behavior. So we gonna show people and be able to talk about those and equip people with tools in that area. And then we have a resilience training. Let me tell you, the resilience training,
Mhm.
people soft these days. They soft, they whine, they cry versus versus learning how to stick to something
Mhm.
and make it work.
Mhm.
A few bruises and they check out. We not
Yeah.
and then in some
And
areas,
people want
you need
things
to be
quick
mentally
now. Mhm.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And then having emotional control, that's the E. A is for awareness of self.
Mhm.
K is having a killer instinct. Just
Mhm.
like you argue your point on why you should be right and you won't give it up, that's that killer instinct. But sometimes we be
Yeah.
picking the wrong battle, the wrong place to put energy in, and we don't
Mhm.
get anywhere by it. Or we may get somewhere, but we don't get as far as we could if we redirected that energy. And then uh authentic identity. A lot of us do not know where or who we are or how we're fully wired. And so I don't know what your college experience was, but my first year in college, I went into the College of
Mm.
Engineering. They kicked me out halfway through the semester and said, "No,
It's not
this not
right.
gonna
We're not
work.
ready.
No, no, boss. This is not gonna work for
Mhm.
you. You're gonna have to try to do something
Mhm.
else." And so and that was really about knowing how I was wired, what I was wired to do, what I was designed. And a lot of us don't know that. We don't study that. We don't take courses on
Mhm.
that. We don't look at that. We just kind of go from what we see, what we hear, what we've watched around us. And so,
Mhm. And just
and
go
the
with the
other
flow
one
of it.
was,
Mhm.
yeah. So, and what was your experience in college on what you saw
Well, I switched majors
about people
twice.
being their authentic self? You
I
did
said I
what?
switched majors twice because you're learning. There are just certain things you think you go into a situation and that you want to take one path and it just leads you down another. Just based on understanding who you are. And, relationships, I think college is kind of where you learn to develop those authentic relationships and you learn to really be you. And you don't necessarily um, hold on to relationships you don't necessarily need to throughout that process because you're like, I'm just coming over here. This doesn't work for me now. I'm gonna try another path. So I think college is it's just a learning platform. You're still a teenager when you enter. So it's not like you don't know anything. We thought we knew everything, but we really didn't.
Exactly. Exactly. Didn't know nothing. And didn't know nothing when we left.
Right, still.
Still
Still
trying to
trying to
figure
figure
it
it
out.
out.
Thinking, okay, now we done with
Mhm.
school. We don't have to do that
Right.
anymore. Or going to school and being there 5 years
Mm.
and should have had at least a master's,
Mhm. It's
if
okay.
not a PhD,
I
but
know,
at
that's alright.
least a
But every
master's.
path is its
It
own
didn't it didn't it
everything
didn't
works out the way it's supposed to.
look, and I'm happy that it did, but I think I can help we can help a lot of people with these codes and how they
Mhm.
apply them to be more successful. Um,
Mhm.
you want to talk about not necessarily cutting corners, but there's
Mhm.
success formulas.
Right. And
And
every
so
stage of
if you
life,
apply them, you'll be
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no,
Oh,
go
no, I
ahead.
just think that every stage you enter into life, you have to kind of revisit it, revisit the codes and really, um, learn to understand where you are at this specific time and place. Because when you graduate, you're in one place. Then you start dating and get married, you're in another space. Now you working and have kids, you're in another space. So as you evolve and you're growing as a person and you're changing as a person from that 19-year-old to the 55-year-old, so you have to understand
That's
these
right.
fundamental things in order to operate in success.
That's right. That's right. And then B in Unbreakable is built for pressure. I played Big Ten football, and we always used to say, "Hey, pressure bust pipes, pressure bust pipes." And it does,
Mhm.
because we seen some people walk away from scholarships. They got the transfer portal now,
Mhm.
where people feel like they've been wrong, so they just jump in the transfer portal and never really get that mental resilience to say, I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do so that I can be successful. That's where that resilience and that mindset comes in. And a lot of people don't study that because they just don't. It's not something that's taught. We don't have a lot of people mentoring that or coaching in that particular area. And then those that do, some of us just not accessible to it. And so that's why we're going to make it a podcast so that everybody can share it and everybody can be able to get the message and be able to do it. And then we got the L for leadership on fire and the E for elevate in every area. And so, we're going to be excited to break down these relationship codes for you.
Mhm.
And then we're going to flip over to our other channel and talk about unbreakable and those things that happen. And it's not just necessarily for sports, but what happens when you get fired?
Mhm. Gotta find something else.
What happens? What happens when you get a
Right.
divorce?
You go through changes.
What happened when you lose loved
Mhm.
ones? What happened when you lose a child? Well, what happens when it's your third job that you switching? What happens when you're not in the right career? What happens when you tired of dating the wrong people? How do you go about rebounding from that? And so we're gonna break all of that down and give people some tools and tips.
Mhm.
And so we gonna get ready to sign off. Kosh, you got anything you want to leave the people with, or be able to make sure that you let them know to come back? Some things you want to add to the kitty as
No, I
well?
think you covered definitely a lot, and it's going to be really interesting as we start to move into the codes and just the different topics. So, looking forward to continuing the journey, and hope that you join us again, and bring a pen and pad, because we're going to be dropping knowledge.
Look, in and bad, we dropping knowledge. Okay, so hey, this is Relationship Avenues with the Relationship Codes and Unbreakable with my girl here, Kasha B. Hey, y'all tune in. We're gonna give y'all a consistent schedules as we start to drop out. We just want to be able to sow into people because we really want to see people be successful, and we just want to make our contribution to life
Yep,
in this time where it's
yep,
negative. All right.
absolutely.
So everybody